I was fixing a leaky faucet under the kitchen sink Thursday night when she came home. I heard the front door open, then slam shut hard enough to rattle the picture frames on the wall. That's never a good sign. I slid out from under the sink, wrench still in hand, and saw her standing there with her arms crossed. The look on her face told me everything. A decision had been made, and I was about to find out what it was. "We need to talk about Saturday," she announced. I wiped my hands on a rag and stood up. "Saturday, the housewarming party. We've been planning it for 2 weeks. Just friends coming over to see the place we've been renting together for the past 3 months. Nothing elaborate. Some food, drinks, maybe 30 people. What about Saturday?" I asked. She took a breath, squaring her shoulders like she was about to deliver a speech. "I invited someone who matters to me, and I need you to be cool about this. Actually, you need to be mature about this, or honestly, we're over." The phrasing caught me. Not a request, not a discussion. An ultimatum delivered like a corporate memo. "Who did you invite?" "Garrett. Garrett, the ex-boyfriend. 3 years together before me. The guy whose name came up in stories more than I cared for. The one she still followed on every social media platform because cutting people out is childish." I set the wrench down on the counter. "You invited your ex to our housewarming party." "Yes. Garrett and I are still friends. Good friends. And if you have a problem with that, then maybe you're not as secure as I thought you were." Her tone shifted to defensive. "I need you to be cool and mature about this. Can you do that, or are we going to have an issue?" There it was, framed as my problem, my insecurity, my potential failure to be mature enough to handle her bringing another man, her former boyfriend, into our home. I looked at her standing there, chin up, eyes challenging me to object. She'd rehearsed this, prepared for the argument she expected me to start. Instead, I gave her a calm smile. "I will be extremely cool and very mature about it," I said. "I promise." Her expression flickered. Confusion replaced the defensive stance. That wasn't the script she'd prepared for. "Really? You're fine with this?" "Completely fine. If Garrett's important to you, he's welcome to come." She studied my face, searching for sarcasm or hidden anger. Found neither. "Okay, good. I'm glad you're not going to be weird about it." Her shoulders relaxed. "I was worried you'd make this into some big thing." "Not at all," I said, turning back to the sink. "I'm going to finish this faucet." She watched me for another moment, then walked into the bedroom. A minute later, I heard her on FaceTime with one of her friends, voice animated and victorious. "Yeah, I told him. He's totally fine with it. I knew he'd be mature if I just explained it properly. See, not every guy is insecure." I tightened the last fitting on the pipe and tested the faucet. No more leak. Fixed. I dried my hands and pulled out my phone, scrolling to a message thread with Dalton, my friend from the HVAC company where I work. He'd been telling me for months that she was testing boundaries. "You still have that spare room available?" His reply came fast. "Always. What's up?" "Tell you Saturday. Just need a place to stay for a bit." "Done. Doors unlocked whenever you need it." I put the phone away and gathered up my tools. From the bedroom, I could still hear her laughing, telling her friend how reasonable I was being. She thought she'd won, thought I'd accepted my place. Saturday was going to be educational for both of us. Friday morning, I woke up before her. She was still asleep, face peaceful, completely unaware. I got dressed quietly and headed to work. At the HVAC company, I kept my phone on silent. By lunch, there were 3 texts from her, all about the party, what food to get, who confirmed, how excited she was. Not one mention of Garrett. She'd moved past that conversation entirely, assuming it was settled. During my break, I sat in the truck and made a list. Not on paper, just in my head. Passport, birth certificate, laptop, hard drive with photos, the watch my grandfather left me, tools I bought with my own money, clothes for a week. Everything else could stay. My coworker Hector walked by with a sandwich. "You good? You look like you're planning something." "Just thinking," I said. "About how sometimes you don't realize you're in the wrong place until someone shows you the exit door." He nodded slowly. "That's deep for a Friday, man." After work, I stopped at the bank. Checked the accounts. We had a joint account for rent and utilities, but I kept my savings separate. Good thing. I transferred enough to cover my half of next month's rent into the joint account, then moved the rest into a new account at a different bank. Clean break. When I got home around 6, she was already there, surrounded by shopping bags. Target, apparently. Decorations, plastic cups, paper plates. She'd gone all out. Can you help me hang these? She held up string lights. Sure. We spent the next hour setting up. She was in her element, directing where everything should go, talking nonstop about how great tomorrow would be, how everyone was going to love the place, how this was exactly what we needed. This is a fresh start for us, she said, stepping back to admire the lights we'd hung across the living room. Don't you think? Definitely a turning point, I replied. She smiled, missing the actual meaning. Around 8, she ordered pizza. We ate on the couch, her scrolling through her phone, showing me responses to the party invite. Lots of people confirming. Then she paused on one message and her face lit up. Garrett just confirmed. He's bringing wine. That's nice of him, I said, taking another bite. She glanced at me, maybe testing for a reaction. I gave her nothing. Just chewed my pizza and watched the TV. You're being unusually chill about all this, she said. You told me to be mature. I'm being mature. I know, but she trailed off, like she couldn't quite figure out why my cooperation bothered her. After dinner, she went to take a shower. I used the time to start moving things. Not obviously, just small stuff. My laptop went into my gym bag, the external hard drive, my good headphones, a few shirts I actually cared about. I put the bag in my car, tucked behind the driver's seat. When she came out, hair wrapped in a towel, I was back on the couch like nothing happened. What are you wearing tomorrow? She asked. Jeans and a button-up, probably. Perfect. I want us to look good together. Together. The word hung in the air. She had no idea that by this time tomorrow, there would be no together. Later that night, lying in bed, she fell asleep within minutes. I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling. My phone buzzed. Text from Dalton. Room's ready whenever. You sure about this? I typed back. Never been more sure about anything. His response was immediate. Respect. See you tomorrow. I set the phone down and looked over at her, sleeping soundly, probably dreaming about her perfect party where she got to have both her boyfriend and her ex in the same room. Proof of how mature and modern she was. She wanted mature. Tomorrow, she'd get the most mature response possible. Not anger, not jealousy, not a scene, just a clean, permanent exit. Saturday arrived. I woke up to her already moving around the house, rearranging things that didn't need rearranging. Nervous energy. She wanted everything perfect. Can you run to the store and grab ice? She asked, not looking up from her phone. And maybe some extra beer. I think we're short. I drove to the grocery store, took my time, walked through the aisles, grabbed 2 bags of ice and a case of beer. At the checkout, the cashier made small talk about the weather. I responded on autopilot. My mind was already hours ahead, playing out the exact moment. Back home, she'd set out all the food. Chips, dips, veggie trays, chicken wings keeping warm in the oven. The place looked good. She'd worked hard on it. Under different circumstances, I might have been proud. People start showing up at 4, she said, checking her reflection in the hall mirror for the 3rd time. Garrett said he'll be here around 5. Got it. She finally looked at me directly. You're being really calm about this. You asked me to be calm. I know, but it's weird. Most guys would at least be a little uncomfortable. Maybe I'm not most guys, I said, opening the fridge to stock the beer. She watched me for another second. Then her phone buzzed and she was distracted again. 4 o'clock came. The first guests were her coworkers. 3 women I'd met maybe twice, all carrying wine and talking loudly the second they walked in. Then a couple she knew from her gym. More of her friends. A few of mine showed up around 4:30. Hector from work, my buddy Landon from high school, and 2 guys from my softball league. Landon pulled me aside in the kitchen. Why do I feel like I'm at her party, not yours? Because you are, I said quietly. He frowned. What does that mean? You'll see. Just stick around. The house filled up fast. Music playing, conversations overlapping, people laughing. She was in her element, moving from group to group, making sure everyone had drinks, introducing people. The perfect hostess. I played my part, smiled, made small talk, refilled ice buckets. A couple of people asked how the place was working out. I said fine. They asked about work. I said busy season. Normal party conversation. Around 4:45, she checked her phone, then looked toward the door. Waiting. One of her friends, a woman named Paige, cornered me near the snack table. So I heard Garrett's coming. That's pretty mature of you. Just trying to keep things friendly, I said. Still, not every guy would be okay with that. She studied my face. You're handling it better than my ex would have. I just shrugged, and excused myself to grab more napkins. Hector found me in the hallway. He kept his voice low. Bro, what's going on? The vibe in here is strange. It's about to get stranger, I said. Should I be worried? No. Just keep your phone ready. You might want to record this. His eyebrows went up, but before he could ask more, the doorbell rang. The whole room seemed to pause. Conversations didn't stop completely, but they got quieter. People sensed something. She moved toward the door quickly, checking her hair in the mirror one last time. But I moved faster. I reached the door first, hand on the knob. She stopped a few feet behind me, confused. I got it, I said calmly. I opened the door. Garrett stood there, tall, confident smile, holding a bottle of wine that probably cost more than my work boots. He was dressed sharp, button-up shirt, nice jeans, expensive watch catching the light. Hey man, he said, extending his hand for a shake. Friendly, casual, like we were old friends. I took his hand, firm grip, looked him directly in the eyes. She's all yours now, I said clearly. I was actually just leaving permanently. The words landed like a grenade in the middle of the party. Garrett's smile froze. His hand was still in mine, but his brain was trying to catch up to what I'd just said. Behind me, complete silence. The music was still playing, but nobody was talking. Nobody was moving. I released his hand, turned toward the coat rack, and grabbed my jacket. She was standing there, mouth open, face going pale. What are you doing? She finally managed to say. I put on my jacket calmly, looked around at the room full of people, all staring at me. Thanks for coming, everyone. Enjoy the party. Then I walked past Garrett, still frozen in the doorway holding his wine bottle, and stepped outside. The door closed behind me with a soft click. From inside, nothing, just silence. I walked to my car, got in, and started the engine. My hands were steady, no shaking, no second guessing. I backed out of the driveway and drove toward Dalton's place across town. 3 blocks away, my phone started going off. Calls, texts, all from her. I let it ring. At a red light, I glanced at the screen. 17 missed calls in 5 minutes. I put the phone on silent and kept driving. Dalton's apartment was a 15-minute drive. When I pulled up, he was already standing outside, leaning against his truck with a beer in hand. He saw my face and started laughing. You actually did it. Told you I would. Man, I need details. Get inside. His spare room was small but clean. A bed, a dresser, a window that looked out at the parking lot. Everything I needed. I dropped my bag on the floor and sat on the edge of the bed. Dalton handed me a beer. Talk. I told him everything. The ultimatum Thursday night, the setup Friday, the moment at the door. He listened without interrupting, shaking his head occasionally. That's cold, he said when I finished. I mean that as a compliment. My phone buzzed constantly on the nightstand. I picked it up and scrolled through the messages without opening them. Her texts went from confused to angry to desperate within 20 minutes. What are you doing? This isn't funny, come back. You're embarrassing me in front of everyone. We need to talk right now. Please just come back, we can work this out. Then calls from numbers I didn't recognize. Probably her friends trying to reach me on her behalf. One text came through from Landon. Dude, that was legendary. The entire party just imploded. People are leaving. She's losing it. Garrett left 5 minutes after you did. Call me when you can. I showed it to Dalton. He whistled low. She invited her ex to humiliate you, and you flipped the entire script. That's poetry. Another text came through, this time from Hector. Got it on video if you want it. Also, I'm leaving. This party is done. Respect for how you handled that. I typed back. Thanks, man. See you Monday. Dalton cracked another beer. So what's the plan now? Stay here for a bit. Find my own place. The lease is in both our names, but I already put my half of next month's rent in the joint account. She can figure out the rest. What if she shows up here? She doesn't know where you live. Fair point. He stood up. You hungry? I was going to order pizza. We ordered from a place down the street. While we waited, I finally opened one of her messages. The most recent one. I don't understand why you're doing this. We can fix this. Please just talk to me. I stared at it for a long moment, then typed a response. Short. Final. You wanted me to be mature about Garrett coming to our party. I was. I let him have it. And you. We're done. I hit send and blocked her number. Dalton was watching from the doorway. That's it. That's all you're giving her. That's all she needs. The pizza arrived. We ate and watched a game on TV. My phone buzzed a few more times, unknown numbers, but I didn't answer. Eventually, it stopped. Around 9, Landon called. I picked up. You good? He asked. Yeah. What happened after I left? Chaos. She tried to act like it was a joke at first, but nobody was buying it. People started making excuses to leave. Garrett didn't even make it inside. He handed her the wine and said he was sorry, then bailed. By 5:30, the place was half empty. By 6, everyone was gone except her and maybe 2 friends trying to calm her down. Damn, she kept saying you'd come back, that you were just making a point. Her friends didn't look convinced. I'm not coming back. Yeah, I figured. Listen, you need anything, let me know. That took guts. We hung up. I sat there on Dalton's couch, beer in hand, and felt nothing but calm. No regret. No doubt. She'd tested me, pushed to see how much disrespect I'd tolerate for the sake of keeping her happy. I gave her an answer, just not the one she wanted. Sunday morning, I woke up in Dalton's spare room feeling better than I had in months. Lighter. Like I'd been carrying weight I didn't realize was there until I put it down. Dalton was already up, making coffee in the kitchen. Sleep good. Best sleep in weeks. He poured me a cup. Your phone's been quiet. That's probably not gonna last. He was right. By noon, the messages started coming through social media. Her friends, mostly, asking what happened, saying she was devastated, suggesting I was overreacting. One message from a girl named Skylar, someone she went to college with. She made a mistake, but she loves you. Can't you just talk to her? I didn't respond to any of them. Monday, I went to work like normal. Hector met me at the shop, grinning. You're a legend, man. Everyone's talking about it. Who's everyone? The guys. I might have mentioned what happened. Hope that's cool. It's fine. Throughout the day, I kept busy with service calls. Air conditioning units, furnace inspections, standard stuff. Work was the same as always, which I appreciated. No drama, just tasks to complete. During lunch, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Against my better judgment, I answered. Hello. It's me. Her voice. She must have borrowed someone's phone. I hung up immediately and added the number to my block list. Tuesday, she tried a different approach. I got an email. Long, emotional, full of apologies and justifications. How she never meant to hurt me. How inviting Garrett was just about maintaining friendships. How I was throwing away 2 years over nothing. I read it once, then deleted it. Wednesday, Landon texted me. Heads up. She's been asking people where you're staying. I didn't tell her anything, but thought you should know. Appreciate it. Also, apparently Garrett wants nothing to do with her now. Told someone she used him to mess with you, and he's not interested in being a pawn. That made me smile. Even the ex saw through it. Thursday evening, I was at Dalton's watching TV when someone knocked on the door. Dalton looked at me, eyebrows raised. You expecting someone? No. He checked the peephole, then turned back to me. It's a woman I don't recognize. My stomach tightened. Don't answer it. The knocking continued. Then her voice, muffled through the door. I know you're in there. Please, we need to talk. Just 5 minutes. Dalton kept quiet. So did I? I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I was wrong. Just please talk to me. We waited. The knocking stopped after another minute. Through the window, I watched her walk back to her car, get in, and sit there for 20 minutes before finally driving away. How did she find this place? Dalton asked. No idea. Maybe followed me from work. That's not normal behavior. I know. Friday, exactly 1 week after the party, I met with a property manager about a studio apartment on the other side of town. Small, affordable, available immediately. I put down the deposit that afternoon. That weekend, I moved my remaining things out of our old place while she was at work. Dalton helped me load everything into his truck. I left my key on the kitchen counter with a note. Paid through end of month. You're on your own after that. I didn't take anything that wasn't clearly mine. Left the furniture we'd bought together, the dishes, the decorations she'd picked out. Just grabbed my clothes, personal items, tools, and the few things that mattered. Walking out of that apartment for the last time felt final. The door locked behind me, and I didn't look back. By Sunday, I was settled into my new place. Small but mine. No shared space, no tension, no games. My phone buzzed one more time. Another unknown number. Another text. People are saying you're cold. That you didn't even try to work things out. That you just gave up on us. I typed back from my new number, the last message I'd ever send her direction. I didn't give up. I just stopped playing. Then I blocked that number too. 3 months passed. Spring turned into summer. The studio apartment became home. I painted the walls, hung up some posters, Got a decent couch from a secondhand store. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. Work stayed steady. I picked up extra shifts when they were available, saved money, even got a small raise after finishing a commercial job ahead of schedule. My boss mentioned a promotion might be coming if I kept performing well. Hector and I grabbed lunch at a taco place near the shop one Thursday. He was halfway through his burrito when he brought it up. So, I saw her the other day. At Target. I took a drink of my soda. Yeah. She looked rough, man. Like she hadn't slept in a week. I don't think she saw me. Probably better that way. You ever think about reaching out? Closure, or whatever? I got my closure when I walked out that door. Anything else is just reopening something that needs to stay closed. He nodded. Fair enough. The guys from my softball league noticed the difference too. I showed up to games more often, actually paid attention instead of checking my phone constantly. We went out for drinks after one game, and Landon pulled me aside. You seem different. In a good way. I feel different. That whole situation with your ex, I gotta say, you handled it better than most people would have. No drama, no begging, just out. Sometimes the best move is just to leave the table. He raised his beer. I'll drink to that. I started doing things I'd let slide during the relationship. Went hiking on weekends. Fixed up my car, which had been making a weird noise for months. Started reading again. Small things, but they added up. One Saturday afternoon, I ran into Paige at a coffee shop. She recognized me immediately. Hey, I wasn't sure I'd see you again. Just grabbing coffee. She hesitated, then spoke carefully. I heard what happened after that party. The full story, I mean. What did you hear? That she spent weeks trying to get you back. That Garrett told people she manipulated both of you. That she eventually moved back in with her parents because she couldn't afford the place alone. Paige studied my reaction. Does any of that bother you? No. Really. She made choices. I made mine. What happens to her now isn't my responsibility. Paige smiled slightly. That's probably the healthiest thing I've heard anyone say after a breakup. I paid for my coffee and left. Ran a few errands. Went home. Spent the evening watching a game. Normal Saturday. That night, lying in bed in my quiet apartment, I thought about where I was 3 months ago. Standing in a house full of people, being tested, being pushed to accept disrespect disguised as maturity. I could have stayed, could have swallowed it, smiled through the party, pretended everything was fine. A lot of guys would have, just to keep the peace, avoid being alone, maintain the relationship. But respect isn't something you compromise on. The moment you accept being treated as less than, you teach people that's acceptable. And once that line gets crossed, it keeps getting crossed. My phone buzzed. Text from Dalton. Pool night at Rusty's. You coming? Be there in 20. I got dressed, grabbed my keys, and headed out. Life wasn't perfect. The studio was small, money was tight sometimes, and yeah, starting over wasn't easy. But I could look at myself in the mirror without seeing someone who settled. Someone who accepted disrespect for comfort. Someone who stayed in a situation that diminished him. I walked out of that party with my dignity intact. And 3 months later, I still had it. That was worth more than any relationship built on tolerance of disrespect. Some people might call what I did cold, extreme, an overreaction. Those people can date her next. As for me, I was exactly where I needed to be. Free.